Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome, cool.
Yeah, how's it going? How's your day going?
Good.
Yeah, nice, perfect. Yeah, so we are here. I gotta say, we are actually replacing the talk from Nigeria, who unfortunately could not make it, which is quite sad. But yeah, I'm very excited for this chance to have this conversation with Albert Pai. Albert Pai is the CTO and co-founder of Bolt.new and StackBlitz. You probably heard about Bolt.new, did you guys?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good
fantastic. So yeah, I gotta say, so we originally met back in 2021.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been
we
a
go
while.
way back.
It's been a while, so it was quite a journey. So the team, Eric and Albert, were at that time building a StackBlitz, which was a different product. We'll get there. But about a year ago, something started changing very rapidly because folks launched Bolt. Bolt started growing. Bolt became one of the fastest growing AI code gen startups. And the growing ARR to 50 million very, very quickly. In how many months?
Yeah, I think we did like 0 to 20 million within like a month, and then we hit like 40 million like maybe within 8 weeks of launch. So yeah.
Which was kind of crazy. And not everybody knows that Bolt and StackBlitz is built on Ruby on Rails, has Ruby on Rails backend, and we worked together on this as Evil Martians and Bolt. And of course, we knew about this, and I'm really excited that we have a chance to share this story a bit more. And the way I wanted to structure this conversation is I would ask some questions similar to what I asked other Rails startup founders before I'm doing this research. But then we would take questions from you guys. So it'd be good if you will participate in the conversation. It'd be great. But so traditionally, my first question to every founder that is building with Ruby on Rails is, Albert, tell us your Ruby story. How did you first came across Ruby and what got you hooked?
Yeah, so I first started using Ruby on Rails on a startup before StackBlitz when I was working with our CEO, Eric. And at that time, like before I learned Ruby on Rails, I think PHP was like the go-to. I'm sure there's probably a lot of folks in the room that also started on PHP.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ruby on Rails just caught my attention because it was just so easy to get started with, and just to have something working and the ability to go to market fast has been a really, really key advantage of adopting Ruby on Rails. That in the community and like the gem ecosystem, being able to just gem install something, like run a generator script and just have like a full feature built out for you is pretty nice, and yeah, just gets you to market a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. Which year was that? Do you remember? And which maybe version of Rails?
Yeah, that was I probably started around like 2012 was when I started working with Ruby on Rails, and at that time I think it was like Rails 3 or something like that.
Yeah, pretty early.
Yeah.
That's pretty, but by the way, what were you guys building back then?
Yeah, back then we were working on an educational startup, so it was kind of like a courseware or like LMS sort of product. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Right. So from kind of 2012 till today, Rails changed a lot. Also, the things you are building are different, and obviously Bolt is growing. Looking back, how would you kind of like, looking back at this whole experience, this whole 13 years with Ruby on Rails, what do you think were some aspects of the framework and language and maybe the ecosystem, and what are things that helped? What are the things that you find most were useful, really kind of lived up sort of to your expectations? What would you say that was?
Yeah, I think the community's just done a good job of just staying up to the times with just keeping Rails a modern framework, like being able to add support for like WebSockets with like either like the Action Cable or any cable, being able to Yeah, really, and also the asset pipeline as well, like being able to like adopt like Webpack as like a first-class integration into the Rails pipeline. That's just been great to see, like Rails kind of keep up with the time and not kind of go stale as the rest of the market kind of adopts new technologies.
Yeah, I think here I got to mention Vite because we.
Oh yeah, Vite too, yes.
I don't know. We love how Vite really also pushed asset pipe like built tooling for Ruby and how perfectly it works for Ruby ecosystem.
Yeah.
So if somebody's haven't tried Vite for your Ruby on Rails apps, it's great. And I'm also just mentioning that because StackBlitz and Vite are.
Yeah, we've had a pretty long partnership as well with Vite, and yeah, they've done a great job of also like modernizing the JavaScript builds ecosystem. Yeah,
were there how can I put this? What do you think okay. So basically you said, look, Rails is evolving. We are, keeping, kind of up to date to the modern, keeping up with the modern standards of dev tooling. Where are we lagging? That's
a good question. I think where we're maybe lacking is like I feel like for a lot of like hard like performance problems, we tend to still like with any cable we have like the Go backend that goes with that. So I think anything that's like just like heavy concurrency, that's something where maybe Ruby is a little less strong at. And then also, I'd love to see like a strong support for like serverless, being able to run on. I know there's like some frameworks like Ruby on Jets that work on like Lambdas and stuff, but being able to run like a Rails stack on either a Lambda or a Cloudflare worker in like a first-class sort of way would be really nice.
That's fantastic. Let's go a bit further into this. Can you give us maybe explain us the context in which Bolt is using serverless, and kind of like maybe this will help us understand the context of this.
Yeah, so there's Bolt.new and StackBlitz.com, and Bolt integrates with StackBlitz through a Remix framework, and that runs on Cloudflare workers on a separate stack. But that backend makes a lot of API calls to Rails, and Rails still supports like all of our like authentication and payments infrastructure.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, maybe just for the sake, also to give a bit even more context, I think we should discuss. How about this? Can you give us like the overview, the kind of like architecture of Bolt, and the biggest components? Of course, you all guys know that this is the code generation. I feel like code generation optimized for people who don't want to necessarily look at the code first, but want to look at the application being built by this code. So in Bolt, you first and foremost look at the application, the UI, and then you look at the code. So I think it's actually great. I love it. I used it for SafeRuby.com.
Yeah, it's been interesting because when we were working on StackBlitz, like our main audience was always developers. So that when we were building Bolt, we were taking like a sort of like catering to developers first. But after we launched, we saw a lot of pickup from like non-developers, like people just like having ideas and using Bolt to as their way to get their ideas onto like paper or onto the internet. So it's interesting because like when we first launched, like we would still keep the code kind of like front and center. Like you would like the initial versions of Bolt still you would see the code getting rendered as it was coming back from the LLMs. But nowadays we put the preview front and center to make the experience a bit more interactive, and also for like the folks that aren't as technical, they can just focus on like the visuals and making sure the functionality works rather than like having to dig into code that they might not even understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's really useful. Even if you are an engineer, it's still often useful to kind of like, have something crafted, like look at it and then maybe go and iterate. But yeah, by the way, I got to share at the beginning when I was planning this conference. So it was all just all in my head, really. And so I pushed all these contacts to Bolt So I explained, I'm dreaming of this conference. I'm dreaming of this is the vision that we'll have startups, we'll have this and this, and that really came up with the whole website, the schedule, and Andrew Kane was the keynote speaker. So it really got it right. Yeah. So unfortunately Andrew could not make it today, but yeah,
that would have been cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, that could be like amazing. And so it really it was this aha moment for me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When I can see it happening really for real. And it played out pretty well. So just let's how about this just so that people also gonna get this. To be honest, I have more context about Bolt because StackBlitz, because we worked together for a bunch of years. So I would say I see Bolt. I wonder if you agree with me. I kind of see Bolt as a combination of two parts. One is AI code gen, which is, as far as I understand, Anthropic's models, right? So the company is not really, specializing on models, right? The company is building the product on top of the models.
Yeah.
So code generation in itself is from Anthropic. Of course, there's this product side of this, right? Of how the user interacts with that. But the other big component feels like is the web containers, right? And then there's Rails backend that is powering everything, right? Teams, permissions, billing.
File persistence, billing, exactly.
But projects,
Web container was what we were developing at Stack was for like the 7 years leading up to releasing Bolt, and that was really a way of getting a lot of people aren't aware, but like the actual previews and dev servers that run on StackBlitz.com, those are actually all running within the browser's client using the browser CPU. A lot of people assume that we're running a large server farm of dev servers and just paying a big cloud bill, but essentially it's bring your own CPU through your Chrome instance to run all these dev servers.
It's your laptop maybe heat it up a little bit, but just for first few seconds, and then it all runs in the browser. It's actually pretty fantastic technology itself, right? That we are able to run full stack apps in browser-based sandbox.
Yeah, it's just, essentially like a browser-based IDE, and that was the main thing that Stack was working on, and we just ran into a lot of challenges with the going to market part of it. We were doing a lot of enterprise sales, selling StackBlitz on-prem, but those just led to long sales cycles. So we weren't seeing the revenue grow as quickly as we wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. And it just reminded me of the RailsConf talk we did this year about tutorial kit. So basically, if you are, so we used your tech to migrate Rails Getting Started guide, the new Getting Started guide, to the browser, so that people don't have to have Ruby and Rails installed to try out the Getting Started guide. So you basically, Albert is here, so this is the guy who presented this talk. So we, and Vova is here also who worked on this. So basically, we used web containers to run Rails tutorial in the browser, which means theoretically we can run Rails I will not say any, okay, not any.
Yeah, a lot of asterisks.
A class of Rails applications in the browser.
Yeah, and that brings me back to why we started StackBlitz in the first place. Was Eric, our CEO, and I were working on teaching folks how to run Angular and Node.js applications, and it wasn't the content that our customers were getting caught up on. A lot of folks were just having issues installing npm or Node.js. So the idea of being able to run a full stack app or Node.js or Angular app in your browser without having to install anything. That was we were trying to solve a problem for our other company at the time, and then it just became such a technically interesting problem where we just kind of spun it off and made it its own thing.
Yeah. So I think we'll share some something new about, something extra about running Rails in the browser at today's keynotes. So, yeah, that's kind of, so again, this is what StackBlitz is working on, right? There's web containers. Now, of course, you have this major AI-powered product, CodeGen, for maybe less technical, different types of people, right? I don't know, product managers and different, like a huge class. You could say like a huge class. So we are, I don't know, then have to, I think it's very interesting because we, as Evil Martians, then people come to us and they say, oh, you know, I built this in Bolt and now can you please make it scalable? And yeah, I'm not complaining really, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good problem to have, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's great. So it helps create more products.
Yeah. Right? It's amazing to see what folks in the community have been able to make. Like we see folks like, because with Bolt, we also have integrations where you can commit back to GitHub, but we also have like integrations where you can, like with the single prompt, like start adding like Stripe to your application. So some folks have actually like created their own like startups that have been capturing like revenue just using Bolt alone, so that's also amazing to see out there.
This is pretty fantastic. And yeah, maybe a few words about the hackathon you ran this year.
Yeah. Earlier this year, we ran like one of the world's biggest hackathons with the biggest prize pool, and yeah, that was the whole like month-long grind of making the hackathon lasted for a month, but it was amazing to see like what folks were building in the community.
I think was it like kind of like $1 million in prizes?
Yeah, over $1 million in prizes.
Yeah. So I guess we will take audience's questions after this. But my final question is, how are you handling this, Albert? Personally, I feel like you not only you had this growth happening to you, but I feel like team is really jumping on it. And of course, Eric is this person. I don't know if you know Pai's co-founder, Eric. For example, the whole hackathon idea was somebody tweeting, you know, to Eric or just mentioning him.
Yeah, it was this person, KP, tweeted out to just kind of out into the open. He was like, if I was the founder of Bolt or one of the other vibe coding tools, I would try to throw the world's biggest hackathon and make that the marketing event of the year. And when Eric saw that tweet, just without going to our team, he's like, yeah, let's do it. We're doing it now. So yeah, and we followed through on it, which was amazing to see.
Yeah, so that's the secret, right? Don't ask your team, just jump into it. I'll think, yeah.
No, I mean,
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think having a great team has also gone a long ways too, and the help of the Evil Martians as well.
Yeah. How you? So I think this is the secret, right? First of all, kind of like stumble upon growth in some sense, right? I mean, it happened. Like you tried a lot of things, right? You tried. You guys tried tutorial kit.
Yeah.
I mean, StackBlitz itself as an IDE where you run code in sandboxes in the browser. Tutorial kit is like a learning experience in the browser. What else? Web containers as API?
Yeah, we also have web container as an API that you can license as well.
Kind of like licensing.
But yeah, all of those things leading into last year, it was just like not enough to move the needle in terms of like revenue for our growth. And then Bolt was one of the last ideas that we were gonna try before saying like, okay, do we want to look for an exit for the company? And it turned out that that Hail Mary ended up working out for us. So yeah.
It's a very like. I can feel. I remember. I could feel the emotion on the team. So it's not an overnight success. Nothing like that.
It's an overnight success. 7 years in the making, basically.
Seven years of grinding and looking for sources of growth. Looking really for like iterating.
Product market fit.
Changing the product. Trying different audiences, different markets, different ways to sell. Jesus.
And part of that was timing as well, because earlier, like Q1 of last year, we tried Bolt as an experiment internally, and just the AI models were not good enough yet. Like a lot of the output we would see at that time just wouldn't run at all, or it'd be riddled with errors along the way. But it wasn't until like the second half of 2024 that's when Sonnet 3.5 came around, and that really just changed the game for
Sonnet,
generation. So,
100%. So yeah, and now suddenly, yes, there's this growth again. Like I said, it's like stumbling upon growth, but in the context of like searching for growth for a long time, and then, but then like jumping on it, like really making kind of like the most out of it. Right?
Yeah, and throughout those 7 years, like as we were developing Stackblitz, we were also building like a community around like web containers and offering as well, and also getting into a lot of like open source documentation on like the Node.js docs and Angular documentation.
Yes.
That also helped kind of when Bolt was ready, like having a channel for us to actually like get people in the door from.
That's a fantastic point, though. Seriously. So you guys were running VidConf, kind of together with Evan Yu's team.
Yeah.
So for how many years?
We did two VidConfs with
two
Evan Yu's
VidConfs
team,
online.
Well, a third one this year in person. Yeah.
Right, the third one this year. So building up, right, the whole like the audience, the community, the people that care and like know you, recognize Stackblitz, know about you. You have like access to them in some sense. So this is fantastic. I love this story. Yeah, but like I said, my final question, just really final. What are you excited about now? Like what are you thinking about for maybe new ideas? Maybe you can share like particular problems you're trying to solve right now, or.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at next is like how do we make Bolt something that's like a daily driver in people's workflows, and really right now we're looking at like PMs and like EMs, folks that can would maybe use like Figma to like prototype their designs, but maybe using Bolt as like a way to like short circuit, like having a actual like functional prototype to show the engineering team to go off of, rather than just like a set of like wireframes or pixels that don't necessarily like have the full fidelity of detail.
Yeah, I love this. All right, yeah, let's think. Let's take some questions from the audience.
Oh, yeah, he's got the mic.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. Thank you for talks. I have a question. A year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I first time touched your product. It was awesome. I mean, it was stunning. And my question is, from your perspective, because you are owner of the product, what's the difference between your product and Lovable? What's the main key features that Bolt is better than Lovable? Because I'm using the both sometimes, and sometimes for me is Lovable better than Bolt. So from your perspective, what's the better one and why?
I mean, I'm a little biased. I would say Bolt is, but yeah, I think one of the key differences is like the web container technology that runs under the hood. Because with like a lot of other products will use like VMs in the cloud to run the dev environments, and that can lead to some latency, or like if the VM gets stuck and you refresh the project, the project might still be like in a bad state. But with web containers, since it's all running client-side, essentially just a bunch of JavaScript files running in the browser, if you refresh the page, you're essentially rebooting that container. So that helps us from both like an operational perspective in terms of like keeping our costs low and being able to offer a better service to like our end users with a better developer experience.
Yeah, I agree. It's on the surface, it looks like you can build something similar to Bolt pretty easily, but it's just going to be like 5 minutes slower each time. So there's like an extra minutes of time that you have to wait for, and those minutes actually change the experience a lot. Yeah, so every second is important now, right? People don't have the patience to wait for some remote containers to heat up and boot up and spin up and stuff. Yeah. Yep. Okay, you go.
Okay. Well, like a quick, like a $1 million question. Who won the hackathon? What was the project?
Oh, who won the
Oh, it was, I forgot his name, but he had a pretty cool project. I'd have to look it up, but yeah.
I mean, the project, like any idea. Were there any theme around the hackathon, or was just like just?
Oh yeah, we had multiple prizes for like different things. Like some were like games, or some were like actual like SaaS products, and some were just like cool like side projects. So there was like a whole range of like different prizes that we were giving out.
And when the next one?
We'll see. Maybe next year if we can break our record again. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Setting the bar.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sure there are many founders here. I'm curious how big your team was when you did the pivot. Was it a hard pivot? What was the emotions? How did you guys as founders make the decision that yes, it's time to pivot? And would you have done anything differently over the last 7 years that you have been doing it? And what stage the company was in?
Yeah. So when we made the pivot, it was we were around like 12 or 15 people on our team at the time. Now we're, I think, breaking 50 people, like somewhere in the 50s, under 60, I believe. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting phase of the company, because we still had a good amount of runway in terms of like money in the bank. Like we probably still had like a year and a half. But the real thing was for our like once you take like venture capital, there's usually like growth expectations that come with, and if we're not seeing like the revenue growth or like the user growth getting captured, then you kind of have to do what's right by the shareholders and say like, okay, is it time to like pack it up, or is there other ideas that we can maybe pursue that we haven't tried before to help meet those objectives? And yeah, we tried a lot of things in 2024, and Bolt was like one of like the last things we were about to try before we were like, all right, maybe we should go look for seek acquisition instead of trying to tough it out on our own. So yeah, I think a lot of that is definitely a tough decision to make between the founders, and requires like strong conviction, but also just having a team that's flexible and also has trust in like the founders, I think is also really key in like having a good team and having that support from the team as well.
So in some sense, I remember the whole web container team kind of like switched to building out Bolt without really saying, oh, but we are here to build this fancy web technology. No. Well, suddenly we're here to build this product that everybody wants. So yeah, the team my impression is the team was great with this.
Yeah, they handled it very, very well.
Yeah.
Hello. It is 10:50, but I think we probably could have a few more questions if you all would like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
So you talked about team. Could you maybe go into a little bit about like how you build out a team? Because I mean, if the whole web container team seems like they bought in, and then the other piece is with the pivot, was there any attrition or any people looking to like maybe not follow along?
Yeah, we didn't have too many attritions. Maybe only a couple on our team, like a few months after the pivot. But I think it was very interesting because at the time, most of our team was comprised of like software engineers, and when we launched Bolt, we were getting like literally thousands of emails a week. Like we didn't have a customer support team, so that was something we kind of had to like. Our CEO and our chief of staff were the ones tending to our support channels, and they're doing like hundreds of emails a day, and just the email queue just kept stacking up. Even like they're increasing their throughput of emails responded per day, and the number just was not going down. So another key part of that transition was also just being able to leverage AI for helping out with the support channels. Nowadays, like AI is able to, we use this company, ParaHelp. They're able to knock out like 90% of like the lower hanging like support tickets from our end customers, which has been a huge help. Now we also have like an actual like customer support team that is is professional and able to handle a lot of the requests that come in as well. So yeah, definitely interesting to see that all of that kind of grow over time.
Thanks for hanging and chatting today. Can you give an example of Bolt kind of using Bolt to build Bolt? Any dog fooding type stuff like that?
Yeah, a lot of times, like especially like if we're just like throwing ideas around, we'll use Bolt, like we'll import like a wireframe or like the Bolt's UI into Bolt, and then we'll try out like, hey, like if we were to add like, I don't know, like another integration, like how would that look? Like so, like we tend to like prototype a lot of our designs using Bolt if we're just like throwing ideas around, and then we'll take it back into like our design and product process. So that and for our marketing pages, a lot of the marketing pages we create nowadays are just purely created in Bolt. So that's also been nice.
So the team has grew a lot, and looks like you're still hiring for more people. And maybe it's a bit weird because Bolt only has a year, but what's next for Bolt? Like, since AI changes so fast, maybe you have to have something next, or is it just keep improving what you have right now, or are you looking to kind of like expand or build new things in the near future?
Yeah, I think nowadays we're going back to what I was saying earlier, like we're really trying to see how we can fit into like workflows at companies to help PMs kind of augment their design processes, and essentially we want to do the same thing that Bolt's been able to enable us to do, which is get to market quicker. Like the whole, and that kind of stemmed from the roots of Stacklets as well, as like how do you go from like idea to like working site on production with as little friction as possible. So I think everything we do previously and going forward kind of all aligns around that sort of vision of reducing friction for not just developers, but also like non-developers to ship things.
Here. So what changes or what expectations do you have for developer experience, like for you personally, like in the next year or something like that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I feel like with AI being kind of embedded in development workflows, I feel like developers, like it's still pretty important to like know how to code. I don't think that like requirement is going to go away anytime soon. The friction is obviously getting lower, but I think as developers, like being able to focus more on like curation or being able to like delegate, like, okay, I need to make like some like small UI tweaks. Maybe like before as a backend engineer, I would like go kind of find a front-end engineer to pair with to make those changes. But nowadays with AI, you can kind of short-circuit that and say and use AI tooling to help get those changes in place instead. So that leads to big productivity boosts.
Yep. Sounds good.
It is 10:55. We do have another talk at 11. Albert, where can folks find you if they want to follow up?
Yeah, so I'll be hanging around at the Bolt.new booth on the way to like the stage. So yeah, feel free to come by and chat with us.
Awesome, thank you.